I trusted my sister with my life savings, but she bought a mansion, faked her death, and pinned her crimes on me. Her worst betrayal was leaving her kid, and my fight for truth changed everything. The moment I handed my sister, Claire, the keys to my financial future, I thought I was building our family's legacy. Instead, she used my $2 million life savings to buy a mansion and vanished, leaving me alone on Christmas Eve. Standing on her icy porch, holding a homemade pecan pie and a gift for her daughter, I heard her new husband's voice through the door. He doesn't have a sister anymore. What happened next? A trail of forged documents, a private investigator's chilling discovery, and a confrontation that tore our family apart will shock you. So stay with me to uncover the truth that changed everything. I'm Michael, 30, a pediatric nurse in Chicago with a knack for calming kids and a heart too trusting for my own good. Every Christmas, I'd make the 4-hour drive to my sister's cozy craftsman home in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where the snow-draped pines and twinkling porch lights felt like a hug from my childhood. This year, 2025, I needed that comfort more than ever. My hospital's endless shifts, 12 hours of soothing crying kids and anxious parents, had left me bone-tired. Claire's house was my sanctuary. Her warm laugh, her daughter Emma's crayon drawings, the smell of her mulled wine simmering on the stove. I'd saved every penny of my $2 million inheritance from Dad's life insurance, dreaming of a community clinic for underserved kids. Claire, a real estate agent with a silver tongue, had convinced me to let her manage it. I'll grow it, Mike, she'd promised last summer, her hazel eyes sparkling. You focus on saving lives. Let me handle the money. Pulling into her driveway, I noticed the house looked different. New shutters, a sleek security camera, a Tesla I didn't recognize. My boots crunched on the snow as I rang the bell, pie in one hand, Emma's gift, a stuffed dinosaur, in the other. The door opened, revealing Mark, Claire's new husband, his face cold as the December wind. Michael, he said, not a greeting, but a warning. You shouldn't be here. My stomach dropped. What? Mark, it's Christmas Eve. Where's Claire? He crossed his arms, his expensive watch glinting. She doesn't have a brother anymore. Leave. Behind him, I glimpsed Emma's toys scattered in the hall, but the house was silent. No laughter, no wine, no Claire. I stammered, this is a joke, right? Mark's smirk was a blade. He shut the door, leaving me in the snow, the pie trembling in my hands. My mind reeled, replaying memories like a broken film. Claire had always been the charming one, the one who'd talk her way out of trouble. When we were kids, she borrowed my baseball cards to trade for a Walkman, promising to share it. She never did. At 18, she crashed Dad's car, blamed me, and I'd worked weekends to cover the deductible while she partied. I'd always forgiven her. She was my sister, my only family after Dad's heart attack 3 years ago. But this was no prank. I drove to a nearby diner, the neon sign flickering like my hope. Sipping burnt coffee, I checked my banking app. The joint account I'd set up with Claire for the clinic fund was empty. $2 million gone, withdrawn in a single transfer 2 months ago. My heart pounded as I scrolled through texts. Claire's last message, from October, was breezy. Investments looking great, bro. Talk soon. No calls since. No replies. A memory hit. Dad's funeral, Claire sobbing, promising we'd always have each other. Her hand had squeezed mine, but her eyes were on his will, not me. I'd ignored the flicker of unease then, but now it roared. A waitress, maybe 60, with kind eyes and a name tag reading Doris, slid a slice of pie my way. You look like you're carrying the world, hon, she said. I managed a weak smile, mumbling about family trouble. She nodded, like she'd heard it all. Saw your sister on the news, fancy new house in Grosse Pointe. Big real estate deal, they said. My fork froze. Grosse Pointe? That was Millionaires Row, mansions, gated estates. Claire, a mid-level agent, couldn't afford that. Unless. My savings. My clinic. My trust. In my car, I called my bank's fraud department, my voice shaking but firm. Freeze any accounts tied to Claire Thompson or Mark Reynolds. I need a full transaction history for account ending 3921. The rep's calm efficiency grounded me. Noted, Mr. Harper. We'll flag it and send records by morning. I hung up, my anger sharpening into purpose. Claire's Instagram, once full of Emma's dance recitals, now showed a glass-walled mansion, captioned, New Beginnings. The date, 2 weeks after my money vanished. A comment from Mark, all ours, babe. My vision blurred, not with tears, but rage. I booked a motel room, the lumpy bed my war room. Digging through emails, I found Claire's last investment update, a PDF of a real estate fund, signed by me. Except I'd never seen it. The signature was mine, but the loops were too perfect, the ink too bold. Forged. My sister hadn't just stolen my money, she'd planned it, meticulously, with Mark's help. I called Rachel, a private investigator I'd met through a hospital colleague. "Michael, this sounds like fraud," she said, her voice steady. "Give me 48 hours. I'll find her." As I lay in the dark, a text from Claire lit up my phone. "Mike, I'm so sorry you're upset. Let's talk after the holidays. Love you." The audacity burned. She thought she'd won. But this wasn't just about money, it was about trust, family, the future I'd built in my head. Claire didn't know I'd already started digging, that I'd find her mansion, her lies, and something far darker lurking beneath. As I stared at the motel ceiling, a strange calm settled over me. I wasn't the naive brother anymore. I was the hunter, and Claire's perfect new life was about to unravel in ways she'd never see coming. The motel room's flickering lamp cast shadows like ghosts of my past, each one whispering Claire's betrayal as I pored over bank records that confirmed she'd drained my $1.2 million inheritance. But when my private investigator called at 2 a.m., her voice tight with urgency, she dropped a bomb. Claire's mansion wasn't just bought with my money, it was the hub of a scheme that could land her in prison. What I uncovered next would turn my hunt for justice into a descent into a world of lies so twisted. You'll wonder how I didn't see it sooner. Have you ever trusted someone so much it blinded you to their true face? The morning after Christmas Eve, I sat in that Ann Arbor motel, the air thick with the scent of stale coffee and regret. My phone buzzed with Rachel's call, her words slicing through the haze. "Michael, I traced the transfer. Your $1.2 million went to a shell company, Blue Horizon Properties, tied to Claire and Mark. The mansion in Grosse Pointe? It's listed as their corporate headquarters, not a home. I dug deeper. Blue Horizon's linked to dozens of shady real estate deals. This isn't just theft, it's organized fraud." My pulse raced, my mind a storm of betrayal and disbelief. Claire, my sister who'd once braided friendship bracelets with me, was running a criminal operation? The same Claire who'd cried on my shoulder at Dad's funeral, promising we'd always be a team? I clutched the dinosaur plush I'd bought for Emma, its goofy grin mocking my naivety. My dream of a pediatric clinic, a beacon for kids like the ones I patched up daily, was now funding Claire's glass-walled empire. I opened my laptop, pulling up the bank records Rachel emailed. The $1.2 million transfer, dated October 15, 2025, was labeled Investment, Blue Horizon. Below it, smaller withdrawals, $10,000, $25,000, funneled to accounts I didn't recognize. My hand shook as I spotted a name, Margaret Harper. Our mother. She died 3 years ago, her heart giving out after a lifetime of overwork. Yet here was her name, tied to a withdrawal of $50,000, dated last month. My stomach churned. Claire was forging Mom's identity, too? The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was a desecration. I drove to a Starbucks, needing noise to drown out the chaos in my head. The barista's cheerful, "Happy Holidays," felt like a slap. Sipping a latte, I scrolled Claire's Instagram again. A new post. Her and Mark on a yacht, Emma in a tiny life jacket, captioned, "Living the dream." The date was yesterday, Christmas Eve, when I'd stood frozen on her porch. My chest tightened, not with sadness, but with a molten rage that felt alive, like a beast clawing to escape. I texted Rachel, "Find out if Emma's safe, and dig into Mom's name on those accounts." Her reply was instant. On it. "Stay calm, Michael. This is bigger than you think." Memories clawed at me, sharp as broken glass. When I was 15, Claire, 12, had stolen my savings, $200 from mowing lawns, to buy concert tickets. She'd batted her eyes, said she'd pay me back. She never did, and Dad laughed it off. "She's just spirited, Mike." Spirited? She was a thief, even then. At 25, I'd loaned her $5,000 for rent, only to see her post from a Vegas trip days later. Each time, I'd swallowed the hurt, thinking family was worth it. Now, those moments weren't just slights, they were rehearsals for this heist. Suddenly, my phone pinged with an email from Rachel. Attached was a photo, grainy but unmistakable. Claire, Mark, and a man in a suit, standing outside a Grosse Pointe mansion. The man's face was familiar, Tony Russo, a local real estate mogul I'd seen on news segments about shady flips. Rachel's note read, "Blue Horizon's a front. Russo's the money man. Claire's not just hiding, she's in deep with him." I'm checking Emma's school records now. My breath caught. Claire wasn't just a thief, she was entangled with a criminal network. And Emma, sweet Emma, was caught in the crossfire. Was she a pawn? Or did Claire even care? I leaned back, the Starbucks chatter fading. A memory surfaced, vivid as a Polaroid. Me at 10, teaching Claire to ride a bike. She'd wobbled, crashed, laughed through tears. I'd bandaged her knee, promising I'd always catch her. Now, that promise felt like a noose. My anger wasn't just for the money, it was for the brother I'd tried to be, the trust I'd poured into her like water into a cracked vase. I called my bank again, my voice steel. Escalate the fraud case on account 3921. I want a forensic audit, every transaction traced. The rep hesitated. Sir, this could trigger a federal investigation. Good, I said. Let it. As I stepped into the snowy parking lot, a text from an unknown number hit my phone. Back off, Michael. You don't know what you're messing with. No signature, but it reeked of Mark's arrogance. My heart pounded, not with fear but with clarity. Claire and Mark thought they'd buried me in their lies, but they'd miscalculated. I wasn't just a nurse with a broken heart. I was a man with nothing left to lose. Rachel's next call would reveal something even darker, something that would make me question not just Claire's betrayal, but the very blood we shared. What would you do if the person you loved most turned out to be a stranger? The diner's fluorescent lights buzzed like a swarm of angry bees, mirroring the chaos in my head as I stared at a photo Rachel sent. Claire, laughing with Tony Russo outside her Grosse Pointe mansion, my stolen $1. 2 million fueling their empire of lies. Then Rachel's next call hit me like a freight train. She'd found Emma, my niece, but not with Claire. She was in foster care, abandoned by the sister I'd trusted with my life. As I gripped my phone, a memory from my past cracked open my heart, tying this betrayal to a promise I'd made long ago. But that's not all. Something far worse was waiting in the shadows, and it would change everything. It was December 27th, 2025, and I sat in that Ann Arbor diner, the smell of greasy hash browns mixing with my dread. Rachel's voice was clipped, professional, but heavy. Michael, Emma's been in foster care since November. Claire and Mark dropped her off at a county office with a backpack and a note saying they couldn't handle her. She's 5, Mike. She's with a foster family in Detroit now. My vision blurred, not from tears but from a rage so raw it felt like my bones were burning. Emma, with her gap-toothed smile and crayon drawings, was a pawn in Claire's game? The sister I'd loved, who'd once been my shadow, had discarded her own daughter like trash. My clinic dream was dead, my money gone, but this was a wound that bled deeper. I remembered a summer when I was 16, Claire 13, at our family's cabin by Lake Michigan. Dad was still alive, grilling burgers, his laugh booming over the waves. Claire, always reckless, had swum too far out, caught in a riptide. I'd seen her flailing, her head bobbing under. Without thinking, I dove in, my skinny arms battling the current to drag her back. On the shore, she'd coughed, shivering, and clung to me. You saved me, Mike, she'd whispered, her eyes wide with gratitude. I'd promised her then, my voice fierce, that I'd always protect her, no matter what. That memory, once a badge of pride, now felt like a cruel joke, a promise I'd kept while she'd sharpened her knife. The irony stung. I'd saved her life, but she'd drowned mine in deceit. The diner's clock ticked toward 3 a.m., each second a hammer on my resolve. Rachel's email pinged with more. Blue Horizon Properties wasn't just a front. It was laundering money for Russo's network, and Claire's forged signature of our dead mother's name was on multiple deeds. My money had bought the mansion, but it was also cleaning dirty cash from Russo's real estate scams. I wanted to scream, to shatter the diner's chipped mugs, but my anger was a scalpel now, precise and deadly. I texted Rachel, get me Emma's foster address, and find proof of Claire's role in the laundering. Her reply was swift, already on it. Be careful, Mike. Russo's dangerous. Suddenly, the diner's door jangled, and a man slid into the booth across from me. He was wiry, with a scar across his cheek and eyes like oil slicks. Michael Harper? He asked, voice low. My heart jackhammered, but I nodded. Tony Russo sends a message. Stop digging, or you'll regret it. He slid a photo across the table, me, leaving the motel yesterday, my face clear in the grainy shot. My mouth went dry, fear clawing at my chest, but I forced my voice steady. Tell Russo I'm not scared of cowards who hide behind kids. He smirked, stood, and left, the photo burning a hole in my pocket. I wanted to run, to vanish, but my feet were glued to the floor, rooted by Emma's face in my mind. I drove to a gas station, the neon glow a weak shield against the night. My phone buzzed, Claire, texting again. Mike, I know you're mad, but I'll explain everything. Meet me tomorrow, 7 p.m. at the mansion. Just us. The words were a lure, glistening with deceit. I didn't reply, but my mind raced. Was this a trap? A chance to face her? I called Rachel, my voice low. Claire wants to meet. I'm going, but I need backup. She hesitated. Mike, Russo's crew watches that place. I'll get you security, but don't go alone. I hung up, staring at the photo of me. Russo thought he'd scared me off, but he'd lit a fuse. That night, lying on the motel's sagging mattress, I saw Emma's drawings in my mind, stick figures of me, her hero uncle. I wasn't just fighting for my money now. I was fighting for her, for the promise I'd made to a girl who wasn't even mine. But there was something else, a shadow creeping closer. Rachel's next call would reveal a truth about Claire that wasn't just betrayal, it was a secret so dark, it would make me question if I ever knew her at all. The Grosse Pointe mansion loomed like a glass fortress under the dusk sky, its sleek windows reflecting my resolve as I approached Claire's trap. My heart a drumbeat of rage and dread. I'd come to confront her about stealing my $1, $2 million and abandoning Emma, but Rachel's last call unveiled a truth that turned my world to ash. Claire wasn't just a thief, she'd faked her own death to escape Russo's grip, and I was walking into a house rigged with secrets that could bury me. The confrontation that followed wasn't just a fight for justice, it was a collision with a sister I no longer recognized, and the fallout will leave you speechless. December 28, 2025, and the air was sharp with the threat of snow as I parked a block from Claire's mansion. Rachel's security guy, a burly ex-cop named Javier, sat beside me, his gun holster a grim reminder of the stakes. Russo's crew is inside, he whispered, checking his earpiece. Stay sharp, Michael. My phone buzzed. Rachel again. Mike, I hacked into Blue Horizon server. Claire filed a life insurance claim last week, claiming she died in a car crash. She's planning to disappear for good, new identity, new life. Your money's already in an offshore account. My breath caught, the words a punch to the gut. Claire, who'd once clung to me after I pulled her from a riptide, had orchestrated a ghost's exit, leaving Emma and me as collateral damage. My clinic dream was a carcass, and now my sister was a specter, slipping away with my future. The mansion's driveway was lined with sleek cars, Russo's crew, no doubt. My boots crunched on gravel, each step a countdown to chaos. Javier signaled for me to wait, but Claire's text, just us, Mike, echoed like a siren's song. I pushed open the gate, the iron cold as betrayal. Inside, the foyer gleamed with marble, a chandelier casting light like shattered promises. Claire stood at the top of a spiral staircase, her hazel eyes hollow, her smile a brittle mask. You came, she said, voice soft, but laced with something sharp. Mark lingered behind her, his smirk gone, replaced by a nervous twitch. No Russo, no goons, just us, or so it seemed. Emma's in foster care, I spat, my voice a blade. You stole my money, forged Mom's name, and now you're playing dead? Who are you? Claire's face flickered, a shadow of the girl I'd saved at 16, but then she laughed, a sound like breaking glass. You always were too good, Mike. That money? It was my ticket out. Russo's dangerous, and I'm done. My chest tightened, her words of betrayal sharper than any knife. Done. I roared. You left your daughter. Her eyes darted to Mark, and I saw it, fear, not of me, but of something else. Suddenly, a creak from upstairs snapped my head up. Javier's hand went to his gun. We're not alone, he hissed. Footsteps thudded, and Tony Russo appeared, flanked by two men with cold eyes and tighter grips on their weapons. Michael, you're persistent, Russo said, his voice smooth as oil. Claire's right, she's done. But you? You're a problem. My heart slammed against my ribs, fear and fury wrestling inside me. Claire stepped forward, her voice low. Mike, leave now, and I'll wire you half the money. Take Emma, start over. Half? The offer was a slap, her eyes pleading but calculating. I saw Emma's crayon drawings in my mind, her tiny hand in mine at the park. I'd promised to protect Claire once, but Emma was my line in the sand. Javier's earpiece crackled. Rachel, warning of police en route, tipped off by her audit. Stall them, she urged. I locked eyes with Claire. You think money fixes this? You're not my sister anymore. Her face crumpled, but Mark grabbed her arm, pulling her back. Russo nodded to his men, and I braced for chaos, my body humming with adrenaline. I wanted to run, to fight, but my feet were rooted, tethered by Emma's future. The air shifted, tense as a held breath, and then I heard it. Sirens, faint but growing louder. Russo's men froze, and Claire's mask slipped, revealing raw panic. As the sirens closed in, I realized this wasn't just about my money or Claire's betrayal. It was about a web of lies so tangled it could choke us all. Russo's glare promised retribution, but Claire's next move would shatter what little trust one had left, pulling me into a darkness I wasn't ready for. The Grosse Pointe Mansion's chandelier flickered like a dying star as police sirens screamed closer, pinning Claire, Mark, Tony Russo, and me in a standoff where my $1.2 million theft and Emma's abandonment hung like a guillotine. I thought confronting Claire would reclaim my life, but her final betrayal, a chilling confession that she'd planned to frame me for her crimes, unraveled everything, leaving me to choose between vengeance and saving the only family I had left. What happened in those final moments wasn't just justice, it was a reckoning that reshaped my soul, and you'll see why no one walked away untouched. December 28, 2025, and the mansion's air was thick with tension, Russo's goons gripping their guns as Claire's eyes darted like a cornered animal's. Javier, my security, stood ready, his hand on his holster, but the sirens were our lifeline. "You're done, Claire," I said, my voice a low growl. "Emma's in foster care, your money laundering's exposed, and you faked your death. It's over." Her laugh, sharp as a splinter, cut through me. "You're so predictable, Mike. You think I didn't plan for this?" She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "I forged your signature on Blue Horizons deals, not just Mom's. When the feds raid, they'll find your name on every dirty deed." My blood ran cold, the room tilting like a ship in a storm. Claire hadn't just stolen my money, she'd painted a target on my back. Mark smirked, but his hands shook, betraying his bravado. Russo's voice sliced in, calm but lethal. "You're a liability, Michael." Claire's smart, she tied up loose ends. My mind flashed to Emma, her crayon drawings my only anchor. I'd saved Claire from a riptide at 16, promised to protect her, but now she drowned me in her lies. The irony was a blade. My trust, my love, had built her escape while chaining me to her crimes. Suddenly, the front door exploded inward, police swarming like locusts, shouting, "Hands up." Russo's men hesitated, then dropped their weapons, but Claire lunged for a laptop on the table, fingers flying to delete evidence. I tackled her, the laptop skidding across the marble. "Not this time," I hissed, pinning her as an officer cuffed her wrists. Her eyes, once my sister's, were a stranger's, wild, unrepentant. "You'll lose Emma, too," she spat. "You can't afford her." My heart stuttered, but Javier's nod steadied me. Rachel's audit had reached the feds, and they had my bank records, proof I was a victim, not a conspirator. The police hauled Russo and Mark away, their curses echoing. Claire's gaze met mine as she was led out, a flicker of the girl I'd saved by the lake. "I had to, Mike," she whispered. "Russo would have killed us." I wanted to believe her, to see my sister, but the lie was too heavy. She'd chosen herself, always. As the cuffs clicked, I felt no victory, only a hollow ache, like a wound cauterized but still raw. The Fed seized the mansion, my $1.2 million frozen in offshore accounts, but Rachel's voice on the phone was a lifeline. "We've got enough to clear you, Mike. And Emma's foster family. They're good people, but she needs you." Days later, I sat with Emma in a Detroit park, her tiny hand clutching the dinosaur plush I'd bought. She didn't ask about Claire, just drew me in her sketchbook, a stick figure hero with a stethoscope. My clinic dream was gone, but Emma's smile was a new one. The feds recovered $800,000, enough to start over, and I filed for custody, my heart set on being her anchor. Claire faced trial, her fake death exposed, her freedom traded for a cell. Russo's network crumbled, but I didn't care about justice anymore, only Emma. Lying awake in my Chicago apartment, the city's hum a faint pulse, I saw Claire's face, not the criminal, but the kid I'd taught to ride a bike. I'd saved her once, but I couldn't save her from herself. The poetic irony was cruel. My trust had built her empire, but her betrayal freed me to build a family. Emma's laughter was my catharsis, a light in the wreckage. But as I closed my eyes, one question lingered. What else had Claire hidden that the feds might still uncover?